So hi everyone, in this video we solve the question partition array into three parts with equal sum. So what does the question states? We are given an array, okay, we are given an array, we have to partition that array into three parts that have equal sum. We have to tell if this condition exists in an array, we will return true. If this condition does not exist, we will return false. So how do we solve this question? So what is the question all about? We are given an array. Okay, this is an array. This is our array. Then what we have to do? We have to partition the array into three parts. So we have partition 1, partition 2, partition 3, and we have to check the sum of the partition. Let's suppose the sum of the partition 1 is S1, partition 2 is S2, and sum of the partition 3 is S3. And we have to check if the sum of these partitions are equivalent, then we have to return our true. We have to return true, otherwise we'll return false. Okay, this basic task we have to do. So how do we solve this question? Okay, how do we basically solve this question? So there exist if there exist three partition in an array that have equal sum, that particularly means that S1 plus S2 plus S3 will be equals to the total sum of the array. This we can say. And if they have equal sum, so that means we can say S1 is equals to S2 is equals to S3. Then we can say thrice of S1 is equals to S. That particularly means the sum of one partition will be equals to S by 3. This we can easily compute mathematically. So what we can do, if the sum of the individual component is equals to S by 3, then what we can say, then there exists, for each component we have to check. Okay, for each component we have to check if the sum of the component become equals to S by 3, and we'll have a counter. We'll have a counter for which we count how many number of times the sum we get as S by 3, the sum of partition we get as S by 3, if that count become equals to 3, that means the sum of three partitions has become equals to S by 3. That particularly means that this array has the three partitions of S by 3. Okay, so what is the algorithm behind solving this question? This is the basic algorithm we have. So our first basic task is to find the sum of all elements of the array. As I have showed you here, we have to find the sum of all elements of the array. Okay. Now what we have to do, start calculating cumulative sum and check if the sum is equals to S by 3. We we are going to check, we are going to compute the cumulative sum. That means the sum of the elements, or cumulative, it can't be cumulative, but we have to find the sum of the array elements until we find sum is equals to S by 3. Whenever we find sum, the current sum is equals to S by 3, then what we have to do, we have to increase our count. This is what we are doing. If our count become equals to 3, that signifies that we have three partitions that have their sum equals to S by 3. That particularly means we have three partitions in an array that have equivalent sum. Okay, so then we have reached what we are founding. Okay, this is what we required. So we'll require the three partitions that have equal sum. That we have reached here, we will return true. Otherwise we will continue our search, make the current sum as 0, and start iterating over the array to find the next cumulated sum equals to S by 3. Okay, so we'll maintain a counter as how many times S by 3 has been reached, and when count become equals to 3, that means we have three partition of the array has occurred with equal sum. That means we have reached our answer. So we look at the code and then we analyze one test case. Okay, so this is our code. This is the basic first thing what we are doing. We are finding the sum of all the elements of the array. Now what we are checking, we are finding the sum of the elements of the array until our current sum will reach the value s by 3, that is the total sum divided by 3. If this condition has been reached, we do one thing, we'll increase our count. Initially the count will be 0. Okay, initially the count will be 0. Then if we found the condition that our current sum become equals to the total sum divided by 3, then we'll increase our count, and if the count become equals to 3, we'll return true. Otherwise we'll again search for other sum that becomes equals to s by 3. Then we again initialize s1 s0 and start finding this condition. Okay, and if this condition does not match, that means we never reach this block, we never execute this block, then we'll at the end we'll return false. So this is the simple question. Now we'll analyze the test case and see how can we solve this question. Okay, now first thing of our algorithm, what is the first thing of our algorithm? Sum of all the elements of the array. Then for this we find sum of all the elements of the array. We have 0, 2, 1, that is 3, minus 3, then we have 6, that is 3, then 10, then 19, then 1, we have 20, we have 22, and we have 23. Is my sum correct? We have minus 7. Okay, we have minus 7. We have minus 7, 6, 6 minus 7, 9, 1, 2, 0. Okay, so we'll again find the current sum, that means current sum and the total sum of the array. We have 2, 3, that means 3, minus 3 and 6, minus 3 and 6, 3, minus 5, minus 7, 3 minus 7, minus 4, 5, 6, 6, and we have 9. So we have total sum as 9. Now we'll find the sum of a partition where the current sum will reach the value of total sum divided by 3, that is 3. Okay, now we'll start finding. We'll reach this element, we'll get a 0 as our current sum. We'll reach this element, we get current sum as 2. We reach this element, we get current sum as 3. So this is what we are requiring. We increase our count become equals to 1. Is our count equals to 3? No, it is not. Then what we'll do, we'll make initialize our current sum as 0 and start finding the cumulative sum for the next. So we have minus 6, then we have 6, it becomes 0, then we have what, 7. So minus 7 plus 9 will give us 2, plus 1 will give us 3. So at this element we again find our current sum equals to 3. Now our current sum become equals to 3, then we increase our count currently become 2. Is our count become 3? No, it is not. Then again we initialize our current sum as 0 and start finding the next sum. Okay, next consecutive sum. Then we reach this element, we find the current sum as 2. For this element the current sum is 2. For this element the current sum will become 3. So we again find an element that have current sum is equals to total sum divided by 3. Then we increase our count, our current count become equals to 3. Is our count become equals to 3? Yes, our count become equals to 3. Then we'll return true. We'll return true. That particularly means that we have find the array as it can be partitioned into 3 equal parts. Okay, so this is a basic question, this is a easy level question we can say. And yeah, yes, if you have any doubt please feel free to ask. So this is the particular algorithm we have discussed. First we find the sum of all the elements, then we using this mathematical computation, if the sum of a particular partition become equals to s by 3, we increase our count until our count become equals to 3, and if it become equals to 3, we return true. And this is the particular approach we will discuss, and this is the code. I insist you to write the code for this because it is an easy question. Okay, bye.